Okay, so you sent some articles my way about this potential cancer vaccine out of Russia. Gotta say, some of the claims, pretty bold stuff.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. The idea of, well, a personalized mRNA vaccine,
Yeah,
that could, I guess, suppress tumor growth, maybe even prevent cancer altogether. It definitely grabs your attention.
it does. But it also kind of reminds me of all that buzz around the Sputnik V vaccine data back during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Lots of excitement early on, and then, well, questions about the data started popping up. I think there are any parallels there.
Hmm. That's a good point. Transparency from some research institutions, let's just say it's been a challenge in the past. It's really important to, approach these claims
Yeah.
with a healthy dose of skepticism, especially since we're working with limited data at this
No, it
point.
makes sense. So while we wait for more data on the Russian research, maybe we could zoom out a little, talk about cancer vaccines more broadly. I was reading they're pretty different from the vaccines, the ones we get for infectious diseases. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, you're right. Traditional vaccines, they work by, well, introducing a weakened or inactive form of a virus or bacteria
Mm.
into the body. This kind of primes the immune system to recognize and attack the real deal if it ever encounters it. That prevents infection.
Okay, so it's all about preventing infection before it happens. But with cancer, it's a different story, right?
Exactly. With cancer vaccines, they're typically given to people who already have cancer. And the goal there is to help the immune system fight off that existing tumor. It's more about treatment than prevention in most cases.
Interesting. And this brings us to one of the most fascinating parts of all this, neoantigens. I was blown away by the fact that these proteins, they're only found on cancer cells. It's like they're waving a flag at the immune system, saying, hey, over here, I'm the bad guy.
Precisely. Neoantigens, they're like a unique fingerprint for each person's cancer. They come from mutations in the DNA of cancer cells, which makes them, well, distinct from normal cells in the body.
So the immune system can be trained to recognize these bad guys based on their unique neoantigen fingerprint.
Yes. And that's the idea behind many therapeutic cancer vaccines. The idea is to teach the immune system to target and destroy cells that are displaying these specific neoantigens, but leave the healthy cells unharmed.
And I read that in some cases, the immune system can remember these neoantigens for years, potentially offering long-term protection against the cancer coming back. That sounds almost too good to be true.
It's definitely a promising area of research. It speaks to the incredible power and adaptability of our immune systems. If we can harness that power effectively,
Mm.
it could really change how we treat cancer.
It's like giving the immune system a personalized set of instructions on how to fight the cancer. That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is. But of course, there are challenges.
Okay, let's talk about those. What are some of the hurdles that researchers are facing when it comes to developing truly effective cancer vaccines?
Well, one major challenge is just the complexity of cancer itself. It's not just one disease. It's more like a collection of, I don't know, hundreds of different
Aye.
diseases, each with its own, unique characteristics and challenges.
So even within a single tumor, you might have a variety of different cancer cells with different neoantigens. That sounds incredibly difficult to target.
Exactly. It's kind of like trying to hit a moving target
Mm.
because cancer cells, they're constantly evolving and changing. This heterogeneity makes it tough to create a vaccine that effectively targets all the different cells
Mm.
within a tumor.
And I also read that the tumor itself can create a sort of immunosuppressive environment, making it even harder for the immune system to do its job.
You're absolutely right. Cancer cells are, well, they're sneaky. They can release substances that suppress the immune response, which creates like a protective shield around themselves.
So they're almost like actively fighting back against the immune system,
Yeah.
making it even harder for those cancer-fighting cells to get through and do their job.
Exactly. And that's why researchers are trying to figure out how to overcome this immunosuppression by combining cancer vaccines with other therapies that can, boost the immune system or break down the tumor's defenses.
So it's not just about the vaccine itself, it's about creating the right environment in the body for it to work.
Exactly. It's a puzzle, and we're still putting the pieces together.
This has been really insightful. Before we move on, I'd love to hear more about Sipuleucel-T, the first FDA-approved cancer vaccine. Can you tell me more about how that works and its impact on, well, prostate cancer treatment?
Sure. Sipuleucel-T, it's a fascinating example of how we can use the power of the immune system to fight cancer. It's a personalized immunotherapy for prostate cancer. It works by training the immune system to recognize and attack prostate cancer cells.
So it's not a preventative vaccine, but it's designed to help treat men who already have prostate cancer.
That's right. It's a therapeutic vaccine
Yeah.
given to patients with advanced prostate cancer. It's not a cure. But clinical trials have shown that it can, extend survival by a few months.
That's significant, though, right? Especially for men with advanced prostate cancer. It shows the potential of immunotherapy in cancer treatment and gives us hope for even more effective treatments in the future.
Absolutely. And this brings us back to the importance of data in scientific research, especially when we're looking at claims like those about the Russian vaccine.
You've mentioned the data a few times now. Can you talk more about why that's so crucial, especially when we're dealing with potentially, revolutionary treatments?
Data is, well, it's the foundation of scientific progress. It helps us separate, the hype from reality to make informed decisions about the safety and effectiveness of new treatments. When it comes to something as complex as cancer, we need robust data from well-designed clinical trials to make sure any new treatment is truly beneficial.
So it's not enough for researchers to simply announce a breakthrough. They need to back it up with solid evidence.
Exactly. And that evidence needs to be carefully reviewed by the scientific community. Peer review, independent analysis, making sure the results can be replicated. These are all essential parts of the scientific process.
So while the potential of these personalized cancer vaccines, like the one being developed in Russia, is exciting, we need to be patient. Let the science run its course.
I agree. We need to balance the enthusiasm with, a healthy dose of skepticism and wait for the data to confirm if these claims hold up under scrutiny. In the meantime, there's a lot we can learn from the current research and from approved treatments like Sipuleucel T. Well said. And, in the meantime, there's other fascinating areas of cancer vaccine research that are worth exploring. Like, for instance, there are different types of therapeutic vaccines being investigated, and each one has its own unique approach.
Oh, that's interesting. I know we've been talking a lot about mRNA vaccines, but what are some of the other types out there?
One promising approach involves using dendritic cells. Those are, they're specialized immune cells that play a key role in, presenting antigens to T cells.
Hold on, remind me, what are T cells again?
Oh, right. T cells are a type of white blood cell, essential for, immune responses. They can directly attack those infected or cancerous cells.
Right. Okay, so how do dendritic cells fit into all of this?
Dendritic cell vaccines, they involve extracting those cells from a patient's blood. Then in the lab, they expose them to, tumor-specific antigens, and then they inject them back into the patient. The idea is that these trained dendritic cells, they'll present those tumor antigens to T cells, which then triggers a targeted immune response against the cancer.
So it's like giving the immune system a personalized crash course on how to recognize and attack those cancer cells.
That's it. Another approach is to use, viral vector vaccines. Those use modified viruses to deliver those tumor-specific antigens into the body.
Wait, viruses? Isn't that dangerous?
Not in this case.
Yes.
These viruses are, they're engineered to be harmless, and they can't replicate. They just act as a delivery system, carrying those tumor antigens into the cells, where they can, trigger an immune response.
That's amazing. So we're kind of hijacking viruses and turning them into, cancer-fighting weapons.
In a way, yes. It's a pretty clever strategy, taking advantage of the virus's natural ability to, enter cells and deliver genetic material.
Wow. There's so much ingenuity in this field. So we have dendritic cell vaccines, viral vector vaccines, and of course those personalized mRNA vaccines that we were talking about before. Sounds like researchers are really exploring every option to find effective treatments.
They are. And the diversity of approaches is encouraging.
Yeah.
Because it increases our chances of finding solutions that work for different types of cancer and different people.
Speaking of individualization, we were talking about the challenges of tumor heterogeneity before. It seems like personalized cancer vaccines, like that one from Russia, offer a way to address that.
Yes. Personalized vaccines, they're designed to overcome that hurdle by targeting those specific neoantigens present on a person's tumor. By tailoring the vaccine to each patient's cancer, we could potentially create, a more targeted and effective immune response.
It's like creating a custom-made weapon designed to attack only the cancer cells and minimizing damage to healthy tissue.
That's the goal. And the use of mRNA technology, like in the Russian vaccine, offers several advantages.
Oh, how so?
Well, mRNA vaccines, they can be produced pretty quickly and easily once those neoantigens have been identified. It's a more, I guess you could say, flexible platform
Yeah.
compared to some of the others.
So it could speed up the process. of developing and manufacturing those personalized vaccines, making them more accessible to patients.
Exactly. And because mRNA vaccines, they only deliver the genetic code for the neoantigens. There's no risk of introducing actual tumor cells,
Oh,
viruses,
gross.
into the body, which can be a concern with, some other vaccine types.
That's reassuring. So personalized mRNA vaccines, they seem to have a lot of potential. What are some of the challenges that still need to be addressed?
One challenge is making sure that those, identified neoantigens are truly unique to the cancer cells and won't trigger an immune response against healthy tissues.
It's a balancing act. You want to make sure the immune system is attacking the bad guys and not causing any collateral damage.
You gotta. And another challenge is, well, delivering that vaccine effectively
Yeah.
to those immune cells that need to be activated.
Because just injecting it into the body doesn't mean it'll reach the right cells and trigger that immune response.
You're right. Researchers are exploring different delivery methods,
Huh.
including nanoparticles and adjuvants, to try to enhance the vaccine's effectiveness.
Events. What are those?
Adjuvants are, well, there's substances that are added to vaccines
Mm-hmm.
to boost the immune response. They help to make that vaccine more visible to the immune system and promote the activation of those cancer-fighting cells.
So it's like giving the immune system a little boost to help it recognize and respond to the vaccine.
Precisely. And this is where, well, those neoantigens we were talking about
Yeah.
could also play a revolutionary role in, cancer diagnostics.
Oh, really? I thought we were just talking about vaccines. How do they tie into diagnostics?
Well, imagine if we could develop blood tests that could detect those, unique neoantigens circulating in the bloodstream. It would allow us to detect cancer much earlier, maybe even before symptoms appear.
Wow, that would be incredible. Early detection is so important with cancer, right? The sooner you catch it, the better your chances of successful treatment.